Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, yes, good morning. Okay, so we'll continue from previous discussion, previous class discussion. So we were discussing about addressing modes of 8086 microcontroller. Okay, okay. Yes, let's continue. So last class we discussed up to what you call base addressing mode. Okay, so for base addressing mode, we make use of BX and BP registers. That is base addressing and base pointer registers. So next we'll discuss what is known as the indexed addressing mode. Okay, so now in indexed addressing mode, processor makes use of two registers. That is SA and DI. That is source index and destination index registers to hold index value for a memory data and a signed 8-bit or unsigned 16-bit displacement will be specified in the instruction. Okay, that is along with the index value stored in SI or DI. SI for source index and DI for data index. Only so to close this. I'm not able to close this already. There is some IED video panel. Okay, from here we go. Okay, that is IED video panel. Okay, just now, so source index and destination index holds a displacement value or index value. Along with that, additional 8-bit signed number or 16-bit unsigned value is specified as a displacement with respect to the content of SA and DI. Okay, to form what is known as physical address or effective address. So displacement is added to the index value in SIRDI register to obtain an effective address. So effective address is the sum of content of SIRDI plus displacement 8-bit signed number or 16-bit unsigned number to which is used along with the base register or segment register to generate what is known as 20-bit physical address. In case of 8-bit displacement, it is sign extended to 16-bit before adding to the base value. Yes, this we'll discussed in the last class. What is the meaning of a sign extension? We'll take one example. Okay, so using this example, we'll understand. Okay, okay. So now we have to load a value to the CX register, which is the destination. The size of CX is 16-bit. The source of the data is obtained by adding the content of SI, the source index, and the 8-bit data A to H. Okay, what is the size of this data? It is A2. The data is only A2, not 0 A2. Okay, so sorry. So the A2 means it is 8-bit data. This 8-bit data has to be extended sign bit, sign extension, so that it can be converted into 16-bit. This 16-bit data is added to the content of source index register, which forms another 16-bit register. This is added to the index segment register, which is left shifted by 0, so that it becomes a 20-bit address. Together, we generate what is known as physical address, okay, or memory address. So we'll see now. So first, this 8-bit data has to be sign extended to form a 16-bit data. Okay. So what is A2H, guys? So let us look into that now. Okay. Maybe this is like this. Just a minute. I'm not able to access. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. So sign bit. I'll explain what is the sign bit. Sorry. Mm. Okay. So let us quickly understand what is the sign extension. So A2. So this A2 corresponds to, so what is A2, guys? A2H. Sorry, A2H. So A2H means A means 10, that is 1010. 2 is 0010H. Okay. Binary representation. This has to be sign extended. Okay. So this is the MSB bit and this is the LSB bit. Okay. So sign extension indicates repeating the sign bit or MSB bit a number of times to match the number of bits. Okay. So 8-bit has to be converted into 16-bit. So how many times this MSB bit has to be repeated? 8 more times. 8 times, so that total size becomes 16-bit. Okay. So there is it will extend sign bit by 8 bits, 1111, so that the content now after sign extension, the content of the data becomes FF A2H, FFA2H. This is after sign extension. Okay. So thereby we get something like this. So A2 is converted into FFA2H. Yes, I think. Yes, let me make it full screen. FFA2H. So this FFA2H is now added to the content of. Okay, sorry, I'll go to this. Yeah, FFA2H is added to the content of source index register. The resultant address is the effective address. Of course, in our case, we don't have any example given in this slide for the source index. You can take example like 1234H, for example. Okay. So this 1234H, for example, let us say the content of source index register is, that is a 1234H. Okay. So to generate physical address, okay, what does the processor does? What does the bus interface unit does? It has to add the content of segment register plus source index plus sign extended data. In our case, sign extended data is FFA2H. FFA2H. Okay. So let us say if source index is 1234H, so to this the content of the sign extended data will be added. That is, it will be FFA2H. FFA2H. It will generate the resultant address, which is the effective address. Which is the effective address. Effective address. So this effective address. So this gives effective address, which is the addition of content of source index register plus sign extended data. If it is data is only 8-bit. If the data is already 16-bit, there is no question of sign extension. Directly we can add with the content of source index. Together it gives effective address. This is added to source segment register. Okay. Just for example, if the segment register is, let us say, for example, let us say 0040H, for example. Okay. So how the physical address is generated now? Physical address is equal to for the source register, segment register, 0 is appended to the towards right, towards lower bits. That is, it becomes 00400H. Okay. So to this, the effective address is added. So what is the effective address? In our case, SI plus FFA2H. Okay. So this will generate what is known as physical address. Okay. So this is Basically, this is a segment register. Together now it gives what is known as physical address. So this is nothing but the physical address, which is also called as in this slide. It is also referred to as memory address. Okay, so one and the same. Sometimes some authors may call it as absolute address. Okay, it is also called as absolute address. Okay, absolute address, physical address, or memory address all means the same. Okay, yeah. So that's how to this memory address generated. So from that effective address or sorry, not effective address, this physical address or memory address or absolute address, whatever it is generated, 20-bit address. From that location, data is copied. Data is copied. That is transferred into CX register. Okay. So what happens is this address is always even. This what we understand is to this. If 0 is added, mostly this will give an even address. In such case, what happens is that from that address, the byte is copied into lower byte of CX register, that is CL. From the next address, another byte is copied into upper byte of CX register. Okay, together it is 16-bit register. So CX corresponds to counter register. So together it forms a 16-bit counter register. Okay, so this is what is called as indexed addressing mode. Okay, source index is used mostly with the CX register. DA register or destination index register is used for data segment registers. Okay, so this is for the code segment register represented by CX. For DI, it is used along with the data segment register. We'll see example guys. When we take up the instruction set, we'll discuss examples of instructions. So there we'll understand the application of actual usage of these registers. Okay, so this is about index register. So next is let us see the based index addressing mode. Okay, yeah. So now, what is this based index addressing mode? Okay, in the base index addressing mode, the effective address is computed from the sum of base register, that is BX or BP. Base registers are BX and BP. BX for base register and BP for base pointer, and an index register. So index registers are source index and destination index registers, and a displacement. Okay, together it forms what is known as effective address. Since base index register is used, either BX or BP, it is called as base index addressing mode. Okay, so earlier case was only index addressing mode. There we use either SI or DI. Now along with SI or DI, we can make use of BX or BP. Together it forms a effective address. Okay, the size of this effective address is 16-bit. Since BX or BP is used, base pointer is used along with the source index or destination index, this addressing mode is called as base index addressing mode. Okay, let's do a simple example. Destination is DX, source is obtained by adding the content of BX plus SI, that is the source index, plus 0AH. Okay, so when 0AH is n extended, what is the result is? So this 0AH, so this is 0A. Okay, so the data is, let us say now the 0AH. Okay, so when it is 0AH, so this is A, and this upper bit will be, upper 4 bits are 0. Okay, since the MSB bit is 0, it is n extended by 8 bits. That is 0, 0. That is MSB bit is 0. So 0, 0, 4 zeros are added. Okay, so together it becomes, the total size of the data now is 16-bit, and its effective 16-bit data is 0, 0, 0AH. 0, 0, 0AH. Okay, so now the offset address or the displacement is 0, 0AH. Okay, so to the sign index register, now we will add 0, 0, 0AH. Okay, so that forms the effective address now. But along with this, for effective address, we also now consider BX register. Okay, we'll consider what is known as BX register. Okay, So source index register plus bx, bx, okay, plus the sign extended data. Together, it gives 16-bit data called as effective address. That is bx plus si plus effective address. In our case, it is 000AH. Okay. Yeah. So that is the example we have. Sorry. Um, so the the displacement is 0h, which is sign extended to form a 16-bit address. So to this sign extended data, content of SA is added. Sorry, and plus the BX register is content of BX register is added to form what is known as effective address. The size of this effective address is 16-bit. Now, to this, the segment register is added. Okay. So, in our case, it is data segment register. So, the data segment content of data segment is appended with 0 at the lower bit side. So, to form 20-bit address. To this, the effective address is added to form what is known as memory address or physical address or absolute address. Okay. So now this from that location data is copied into DX register because DX happens to be the destination register. Okay. So in terms of 8-bit data or byte of data, from that location data is copied into the lower byte. From the next immediate location, the data is copied into the upper byte. Okay. Yes, we'll understand this when we discuss memory architecture in a little detail. So then we'll get a clear idea of about this addressing concept. Okay. So this is the basic idea of a what is known as based index addressing mode. Okay. So in this case, along with the source index or destination index, base register base index base sorry base index register is used or base register is used. For example, bx and bp along with the displacement. Okay, to form a effective address. Okay. This next is what is known as string addressing mode. Okay. So what is this string addressing mode? Let us understand. Okay. So it is employed. There is this string addressing mode is employed in string operation to operate on a string of data. Okay. So when we say string of data, so we refer to characters. Like for example, A. Okay. A to Z. That is uppercase letter or smaller A to Z. Okay. So we represent characters, like for example, we can represent character A, for example, capital A. Okay. So this represents a single character. Group of alphabets forms a strings. For example, let us say MMC, for example. That is small letters, no problem. Okay, MMC. Now this is a string. Single alphabet is we can call it as a character. Group of characters is a string. Okay. So in that sense, so this string for to handle strings of data, we have string addressing mode. Okay. So the effective address of the source data is stored in the source index register, and the effective address of the destination is stored in the destination index register. Okay. Yes, for this addressing mode, both the source index as well as destination index registers are made use of. Okay. Because we have to transfer the data from one location to another location. So in such case, we require both the source index as well as destination index registers. Okay. So segment register for calculating the base address of source data is DS. Okay. So for string addressing mode, base the date memory segment used is data segment. So for this data segment, we have a data segment register that is used as a base address, and that of the destination data is extra segment. Okay. Yes, we know that we have two segments called as data segment and extra segment. Data segment is used for source of data, which is accessed using the data segment register, and the destination of string of data is extra segment register. For this, the segment register is you know the ES segment register. So along with the segment register, we may make use of index registers. Okay, we'll see how to make use of that. We have an example, guys. Okay, move S for string of data. Byte is a variable which stores the string of data. Okay, So let us see the basic memory yes, here we understand only the memory calculation operation. Actual working of this instruction will take up when we discuss the instruction set. Okay, so during instructions a lot of string operations are there in 886. We'll discuss many instructions. One of them is moves. Moves is the moves for string of data, to transfer string of data. Okay, so calculation of source memory location. So effective address is source index and base address is using data segment register. So the physical address of source of data or source of string is base register, which is given by data segment register, appended with 0 plus effective address, which is source index register. For destination, effective address is destination index register, base address is extra segment register, appended with 0 to form a 20-bit address. Total effective physical address or memory address or absolute address is sum of base address, which is 20-bit in size, after what you call appending 0 and effective address. So together it forms a physical address. Okay. So from this location, the data is transferred into destination in our memory address register. Okay. So observe this. If df is equal to 0, then source index is updated after decrementing the content of source index. Similarly, with the destination index register, because I think I don't know whether you are able to see this. Let me go back to this. I think this view will be better. Let me zoom it so that we can. I can see this bottom portion. Okay, now bottom these two lines. Okay, these two lines indicate the string operation. If the flag df is equal to 0, then source index is decremented. Okay, it is decremented and stored into source index register. Similarly, destination index also decremented and stored into destination index register. Whereas if df is equal to 0, source index is incremented. That means each time whenever a byte of data is copied from the source to the destination, this source is either incremented or decremented, so that it points to the next byte of data or next string. For that to happen, whether it is increment or decrement, guess what is the meaning of increment and decrement of SI is whether it is going from lower address to higher address or from higher address to lower address. That is the meaning of incrementing SI or DI. That depends on DF bit. Okay, this DF bit, if it is 1, then the source index automatically decrements and destination index also automatically decrements. Whereas if DF is equal to 0, both source index register and destination index registers will automatically increment. Okay, so we'll understand this when we take up the the instruction set. We'll discuss this in detail. So this is the basic operation of what is known as string addressing mode. So basically, string addressing mode involves set of instructions to deal with only strings of data. Yes, okay. So next is direct addressing mode. Okay. So sorry, direct IO, input output port addressing mode. Similarly, indirect input output port addressing mode. Okay. So these addressing modes are used to access data from standard IO mapped devices or ports. Okay. Guess what is the meaning of standard IO mapped devices? Sometimes the ports are configured for a particular device. Okay. Then we can call that port as a standard IO mapped devices, or there is some device connected to a port. We are reading the data from the port. Yes, there is a difference meaning here. Okay, there is either we are reading the data from devices connected to the IO port. When we say devices connected to the IO port, means the device will have memory, and hence we are directly accessing the memory of the device. Sometimes let us say some sensor is connected to a port, for example. Okay, these sensors are actuators. For example, sensing devices. They don't have any what you call memory. In such case, we cannot access the memory of a sensor. We'll access the data available at the ports. Okay, so that's the basic difference. So we'll understand this in detail. Okay, so memory mapped IO or address mapped IO. So there we get the difference. So whether we are directly reading the memory of an external device, or we are reading only the data available on the ports. Okay, so based on that, we have a addressing mode for IO devices or IO ports. Okay, so there are two types: direct IO addressing mode and indirect IO addressing mode. Okay, indirect port addressing mode, an 8-bit port address is directly specified in the instruction. So we specify the address of the port. For example, in means reading the data. AL is the 8-bit register, which is the lower byte of the X register. The data, the address of the port is 09H. Okay, so from this address, which represents a 8-bit port, the data is copied into L. Yes, we know that in what you call 8086 microprocessor, if you represent data in the bracket, it represents the address. No square brackets, it represents the data. Okay, so don't get confused with 8051 microcontroller. So there is a slight change in convention, or the symbols used. Okay, so in 09 here is a address, not the data. So from this address, which represents a 8-bit port, data is copied into AL register using a input-output instruction called as in. Okay, so the operation performed is from the location 09, which is a port. The data is copied into AL register, which is the internal register. So content of port with the address 09 is moved into AL register. Okay, so this is what is known as direct port addressing mode. Okay, in which case the address of the port is part of the instruction. Okay, yes, next is I'm not able to. Direct addressing is discussed, but sorry, indirect addressing mode is not shown here. So let me refer the other slide. It's not available here. Hmm. For indirect addressing mode, um, not register indirect addressing mode. We need here also it's not shown. Okay, yes, I'll take up at latest stage. I'll show the example for register indirect addressing mode. Okay, yeah. Okay. So next we'll look into relative addressing mode. Yes, I'll discuss indirect addressing mode. Okay, it's not shown. Example is not shown in the slide. I'll discuss in the at later stage. So for a relative addressing mode, okay. So what is a relative addressing mode? Is this is similar to 805 microcontroller, where the address, the instruction refers to a jump instruction, where the control will jump from the controller means the execution of instruction is will take a jump from one point to another point based on the direction of jump. Okay, so in this addressing mode, the effective address of the program instruction is specified relative to the instruction pointer by an 8-bit signed displacement. Okay, it's just like in 805 microcontroller, the jump address is with respect to program counter. In 8086 microcontroller, sorry, 8086 processor, we don't have program counter. Instead, we have something called as instruction pointer, which points to the instruction in the port segment register. Okay, so where the port segment register has the instructions. So with respect to the content of instruction pointer, which points to the instruction of a port segment register, the processor will take a jump. So let us see a simple example. Jump if 0 to the address. So 0H is the 8-bit signed displacement. Okay. So the address is part of the instruction. So again, to form a physical address, this address, relative address, displacement address has to be converted into effective address. Okay. So the default index register for this instruction is instruction pointer. So first, this 8-bit displacement is sign extended. It becomes 000H after sign extension. If zero flag is equal to 1, there is jump 0. Jump 0 means jump if zero flag is 1. Okay. If it is 0, Then to take a jump to the target address, the target address is generated using physical address, which is obtained from effective address and the base address. Effective address is sum of the instruction pointer, which is 16-bit in size, and the 8-bit displacement, which is converted into 16-bit data after chain extension, which gives effective address. The base address for this port segment register is port segment register, because the instruction pointer always points to the port segment register. That is, it will always point to the instruction, okay, which is stored in the port segment area. So which is for port segment area, the base address is stored in port segment register. So this port segment register is appended with 0 to form 20-bit address. So together effective physical address is calculated, okay. So to that address, the control processor will take a jump if 0 flag is set to 1. Okay. If 0 flag is 1, then the program control jumps to the new address calculated using this method. Okay. If 0 flag is 0, there is 0 flag is reset, it will go to the next instruction. It will not take a jump to the target address. So this is the meaning of what is known as relative jump. Relative addressing mode. Then comes what is known as implied addressing mode. Okay, so let us discuss this implied addressing mode. So instructions using this mode have no operands. The instruction itself will specify the data to be operated by the instruction. Okay, that means, so this implied addressing mode will help the programmer by assuming some default registers, and using that register, the microcontroller is going to modify the data. Okay, this clears, for example, let us say we have to clear a carry flag, for example. Okay, yes, how do we do that in our 8051 microcontroller case? If you want to clear carry flag, okay, CLRC. CLRC means clear carry flag. Okay, in 8086, it is, since it is a, see, 8086 processor is a CISC processor. What do you mean by CISC processor? Processor is complex instruction set computer. Okay, that means you have instruction for even smaller operation. For example, for clearing carry bit, we don't have an inbuilt instruction in 8051. Okay, 8051, to clear the carry bit we use clear C. Okay, whereas in 8086, to clear a carry bit, there is an inbuilt instruction called as CLC. Sorry, CLC. Sorry, it is loading. So CLC will help in clearing the carry bit. We need not say it is a carry bit. Carry bit of a flag. The program status word, or carry bit of a flag register. Not necessary. It understands that we are clearing the carry bit to 0. Okay. So we use the instruction CLC. Okay. So that means for even for smaller instructions, see, for example, how to set the instruction, how to set the carry to 1, set B, set B C. Yes, in this case, what we have to understand is this CLR and set B is a instruction which operates not only on carry bit, it will operate on 1 bit of data. Whereas CLC is only for carry bit, not for any other bit location in 8086 microcontroller. Okay? So that's how it is very particular in 8086 processors. So let us look into the, okay. So this is what is the meaning of implied here? The carry bit, which is the target location for this instruction, is implied by the instruction. That's why it is called as a implied addressing mode. Okay. Yes, do we have any implied addressing mode in 8086? As it is, no, because for each instruction we have to specify the argument. Okay, so without argument we cannot for example, even for increment instruction we have to specify the target location, for example increment or not. Okay, so for each instruction there should be an argument, maybe except for a NOP. For NOP, okay, it does not require any argument because it is a no operation, it is not doing any operation. Can we call this as a implied addressing mode? No, because it does not do any operation. Whereas CLC is implied instruction because it does the job of clearing the carry flag to 0. It will reset carry flag to 0. Okay, so that's the meaning of what is known as implied addressing mode. Okay, yeah. Okay, yes. Now I'll stop at this because I'll be taking class at 11 again. There is Ganesh class. I'll be continuing. So that's why I'll stop now. Take a break. So join me at 11. I don't know whether I have to share the address. There is a Zoom address. I'll share it. Okay. I'll create one more meeting. I don't know whether I have to do it or not. I think I have to create one more invitation. I'll share it through the WhatsApp. Okay. Let us join at 11 o'clock. Okay. We'll discuss. If possible, we'll continue with the let us say instruction set. We have instruction set to be discussed. Let us cover up possible as much as possible. Let us continue with the instruction set. Okay, at 11. Okay, see you guys. See you at 11.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Bye.